And here we are with the General Secretary, Comrade Sikiru. Welcome, the General Secretary of Aupctre, Comrade Sikiru. Welcome on the show, sir.
Thank you very much, comrades. Once again, my name is Comrade Sikiru Wahid.
Yeah.
I am the General Secretary of the Amalgamated Union of Public Corporation, Civil Service, Technical and Recreational Services Employees.
That's like a brain box.
Aupctre. Yes, we call it Aupctre.
Oh, lovely.
You see, the name is so long.
Yeah.
And the reason for that was because it is an amalgam of 3 industrial unions.
Okay.
In 1996, the 3 unions felt that they need to be stronger and have a bigger financial base than they have. It is made up of the Union of Public Corporation, the Union of Civil Service Technical, and the rest of Recreational Services Union. So this union came together to form Amalgamated Union, so that each of the unions wants their name to be in the amalgam. Because of that, the names were inscribed in to make it Amalgamated Union of Public Corporation, which is one union, Civil Service Technical is another, and Recreational Services Employees. That's the 3rd union.
Lovely. And,
so
and all these unions
all these are combined.
Yes. Okay. And they're still in existence in this new body.
Yes, they are in the new body. We have been fused to be one.
Okay.
So now nobody wants to identify himself with the old names again, because the union has become one. So the issue of saying I'm from RESU or I'm from Civil Service Technical does not arise now. It is only one strong union. And this merger took place in Sokoto in 1996, where there was sharing of positions, and then the General Secretary then was also appointed, and so the union took off from that point.
Okay, that's beautiful. Many people might be, what was the idea behind unifying together? What was the ideology that governed that unity purpose?
That's a great one. The idea behind it is that, just like I tried to say, the unions were polarized. There are some areas of interest. We have been able to identify ourselves that there are areas at which we overlap in our functions, and that there's a need for us to have a stronger financial base than what we used to have. So because of the overlapping functions of the union look at it that, why not we come together and have one union, instead of me dragging a member with you in a particular place where I exist and you existed. So because of that, the idea came that we need to not to overstress ourselves. Let's just come together. So the idea came that we should be one union. That was as a result of that, and that also gave a strong financial base. But it was not easy to come by, because you know that each union have their leadership. There is general secretaries of the 3 unions, there are presidents of the 3 unions, and all that. So it was a very great sacrifice that our leaders that time had to make, because somebody who is a president might have to come back to be deputy president. So we now have a president from one union and the deputy from the other unions. And the general secretary comes from one union, and then the other deputies also came from the other. So, and there was an arrangement that time that if the general secretary exits, they might also circulate the general secretaryship within the enclave of the union. And that has been the system that time. And it has fizzled out now. So the issue of saying I'm from this, I'm from that does not even exist now.
One union, one single
unbreakable union. Yes, nobody thinks about that.
Well,
that is how we exist now.
No wonder the formidable force that Aupctre enjoys. Many people are wondering, what area of operation do you cover? What sectors are your members largely found?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's based on a principle of an ideology. We are social democrats, and our union is operate along a union movement. We are movement union. That's another thing. And you can also call us a general union. So we operate in so many bases, so many areas. Now, we have major issues in the sport industry. We cover the entire nation, all the sporting activities, people working in the sport across the federation.
Football,
tennis, volleyball, every other thing you think of. All the people across the whole federation are members of this union, because we are the one covering recreational services employees. Yes, if you also look at the people working in water board, all the state water board, both federal and across the whole state in Nigeria, they are all our members too. So we operate in that place. We operate in the fire service.
Okay.
So most of the fire service you
Workers
see
in the fire
across,
service.
they are our members.
Okay.
And the people in the VIO, vehicle inspection units,
Yeah.
they are all our members.
Oh.
So then we cover the Ministry of Works.
Okay.
So, you know, all the people are technical workers. Those who work at the Ministry of Works in the state and federal, they are all technical workers.
Lovely.
So in view of that, they are members of the union.
Lovely.
Then we cover the aspect of drivers. They are also technical. The drivers you see working in ministry, every part you see a driver, they are our members. So the union have a very wide coverage. That's why we said we are amalgamated, as you know, and we are a general union that have a very vast coverage. We are in the aviation industry. Yes, NIMET, for instance, Nigeria Meteorological Agency, in the aviation industry, we cover most part of the workers in that aviation industry. And so for any flight to take off in Nigeria, they need to get the consent of our members. Because we read the weather, we give the pilot the weather focus to enable them get the appropriate way to move, whether the weather is cloudy, it's good to fly, it's not good to fly. Those informations I get from meteorologists, and all the meteorologists are members of this union.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful.
So and we also give weather forecast to agricultural proceeds.
Yeah.
To look at whether the issue of rainfall as it affects agricultural production.
Oh, that's
so those are also our areas of coverage. 36 states of the federation.
Oh,
we have our state chairman, secretary, appropriate organs in all the states. We have that, and we have what we even call the NCC, which is the National Coordinating Committee.
Okay.
So the National Coordinating Committee are made up of parastatals where they have a widespread across the federation. So we have 10 of them.
Okay.
So I will just mention a few. Now, NOAA, National Orientation Agency, it is only Aupctre that operates in NOAA across the federation.
Oh,
yes.
Lovely.
Yes. We have the NYSC, Nigeria Youth Service Corps. We operate also in youth service across the federation.
Oh.
Yes, those are close areas for Aupctre. Though we still, like NYSC, we still have pocket of some other unions that come into that place, but we carry the majority of the workers in that place. Nigeria Population Commission, NPC, we also operate in those places. So those are some of the areas we operate that are secluded for Aupctre, and we have them like that. We call them NCC across the federation.
Okay.
So if you work in Population Commission, if you work in Nigeria NCMM, that is the Cultural and Monument Center, you are also a member of the union.
Oh.
So that is how we operate across the federation.
Wonderful, wonderful. So a lot of members who tend to want to register have all these areas to go and check for registration.
Exactly. Our chapters there.
Oh, lovely.
And for us in Aupctre, we don't force people to be a member.
Okay.
By the Trade Union Act 2005, which give every member the right to belong to a union of your choice. You can also decide that you don't want to be a member of a union.
Yeah.
But we do our work in such a way that you are convinced to be our member. And we don't just ask people to register by force. We have our membership forms, which we present to everybody. And people fill our forms that they are members of the union. And once you fill the form, that is when we process your form for deduction of union dues. So we don't take members by force like some unions who just go and have members. They don't even know they are members. We know our members anywhere they operate because we have a list of members in all the branches of the federation. So that is how we operate now.
Comrade General Secretary, let me take you on a rant. There's an issue about privatization. I want you to share your thought. What's your thought about the privatization?
You see, government across the federation, from the federal to the states, seems to be very interested in the privatization of water, and they pay lip services to the issue of provision of water. I look at them as sharing away from their responsibility. It's the responsibility of the government to provide waters, drinkable, affordable, which is also in the United Nations Charter. That everybody have the right to water.
Affordable water.
So potable water, edible, you should charge little for people to avoid it where you are charging. But in Nigeria, the reverse is the case. About 2-3 years now, federal government came up with the National Water Bill, National Water Resources Bill. The National Water Resources Bill have an intention to bring all water bodies across the Federation under the control of the Federal Ministry of Water Resources. And if that bill goes, it means me and you, they are even good. The bill provides for assessment of rainwater that is freely given from God.
What?
Yes, it has to be assessed to know how much water, the quantity of water you can use in your house. So, and then, yeah, very serious. You can't have a borehole and they don't provide water. So what are the alternatives that are open for you? We all know that the sinking of borehole in the long run is not so good for the economy.
Yeah.
Because of the topography and all that thing that is happening in other countries, we pray not happen. Because if we continue to sink borehole, it can have serious devastating effects on the land.
Yeah.
So, but government is not providing the services for water, and they are just interested in privatizing. And this privatization they are doing, it is unfortunate that they don't even know. They will just go to maybe a country, another country, London or whatever, and bring somebody. They will call them experts. Like the situation in Lagos, where we fought seriously.
Yeah.
They brought somebody to Lagos. The man they brought does not even have anyone couple. The government of Lagos vouched for him to take a loan. He took a loan and started the company. When he started the company, they were making so much money from it. People complained, and they could not go on. The man left and go, and has nothing at stake. And the whole debt he has incurred will be paid by Lagos.
There's no sanction. There's
nothing, and he left. And that's what they do. In Bauchi State of recent, they have a world back assistance of several millions of naira because of the billions. It went on to billions. Because of that, the government of the state will now want to take the money, and they will now come and deceive people and say, look, we are going to provide water for you, we are going to do this. They bring some other petty issues and try to convince people to buy into it. But the moment you buy into it, it is not that it's going to be to your advantage. They might do something which you have to pay heavily for it, which is against the law of the land. So, but the fact remains that we, after fought very seriously against it, we have protested in Bauchi. We have demonstrated too in Jos Plateau State. We have several demonstrations in Lagos. And in Lagos and all the places we've have spoken about, they could not go ahead with their intention to privatize. But I can tell you that majority of the government of Nigeria today are just not doing their responsibility. They are all tilting towards privatization. And that privatization is not that they are the one providing money for it.
Yeah.
They are taking the money, they are taking loan from World Bank and all that. And the World Bank loan have certain conditions that you have to meet for you to go for their loan. So those conditions that they are going to meet are very devastating conditions to the workers, because they will have to retrench the workers. Sometimes they cut down the salary of the workers.
That's pathetic.
And the public who are going to make use, the end users, they pay more, they pay harder to their noses to be able to get water. So, I mean, how does that work?
Comrade Secretary, you've carefully enumerated the challenges. But as you mentioned earlier, there's a bill, before the National Assembly. Has that bill been quashed out?
Thank you very much. Like the bill we are talking about at the National Assembly, the bill was earlier presented to President Buhari as at that time. So, and when it was at the National Assembly, we went there to present a position paper on why the bill should not be passed.
Still true.
Yeah, and we also tried to bring in some other social partners from the civil society. The social partners also came, and they had their own position too, and presentations were made. And so with the explanation we have given, they're able to see that it will not be good for the economy. So that bill was dropped. After a year, it was resurrected again, back to National Assembly. We also went there, and that was there when we even went with the protests. And so I presented a protest letter to say, look, this was our position before, and the thing has not changed. And so if this bill has been jettisoned, we don't know how it comes through a back door again to the National Assembly. And so we advise that such should not be allowed to skate through, because it's going to have a very devastating effect on the people. So the bill, they are just silent on the bill. They couldn't go further on the bill. I cannot say that it's totally dead, but I'm sure it's also not rising up. The head is not rising because they know that there is going to be so much uproar against that bill. So I think it's just kept in abeyance. And for other states like Plateau State, where we protested, Plateau State, we just heard that they were just having a last sitting. We didn't even know when it started. They were having a last sitting on it in the state assembly. So we mobilized the people around northwest, not east, who can be there, like Bochi, the states around. We mobilized some of them who are Aupctre members, and we also stormed the state assembly of Plateau State with our paper with some civil society organization and told them that this should not be allowed to skate through. And I can tell you that protest paid off.
Okay.
Because some of them, like the speaker told us, that they have not looked at those areas we are now mentioning, but that they will look at it and get back to us if what we are saying is the correct thing. So they suspended the discussion on the bill. And so I think after they've gone through, they now come to the realization that, yes, we are correct. Because the way they used to put the issue of this World Bank issue is that they will write a very beautiful introduction and a very beautiful conclusion. And it will be a very long terms of reference.
Yeah.
And so our people don't have time to go through all these terms. But in between the terms, they will put some actions there which might be negative to you. So if you don't take time to read all this, by the time you look at the introduction and the conclusion, which most of us do, so a lot of people won't read. When they read the introduction and say conclusion, fine. But the body of the structure of that paper indicate that there are a lot of negative things there. So by the time they went through it, they now knew that what we are saying is the correct thing. So they stopped it. So we go protest, we involve civil society. In fact, in Jos, we had a community meeting with the people that are directly affected, the people that we went to the various communities. We met the community chiefs, we met the young people within the community to enlighten them and say, look, this is what is coming in your assembly. See what will be the repercussion if they pass this bill. And I can tell you that all of them joined us on the day we were protesting, even including traditional leaders, traditional rulers, they joined us in the protest. And so it was not just Aupctre voice alone. It was voice coming from the youth of Plateau State, voice coming from the traditional, the citizens and all that. So with that, they could have nothing to do other than to leave it. But I can tell you, just as you are saying, there are some states we have not actually protested. And why we have not is that the ugly head of such water bill has not really reared its head.
In those states?
In those states. We know they are doing something on the ground. But sometimes they will come up and drop the idea. And when they are seeing the examples of what is happening across the other states in the federation, they have not been able to bring it up. So, but as we hear them doing it, we also tackle it head on, so that it doesn't get through.
Okay, are you also thinking about going towards enlightenment campaign as an instrument? Some quarters have argued that unions are rather reactive than proactive. There needs to be an enlightenment campaign.
Yes, in Aupctre, for instance, we are affiliated to Public Service International, PSI. And this matter, we reported it to Public Service International. PSI has also taken a very serious stand on it, because they have also known that the issue of privatization is not only in Nigeria, it's also rearing its ugly head in some other African countries and other places. And there is what they call municipalization. A lot of the states are doing a kind of those who have gone for the privatization are now coming back to municipalize. So in view of that, the PSI came even with a professor from a university and then in Italy. And they came and have a public enlightenment. We hold several workshops. And places we have workshop, we will involve the people who are in that place. As I'm talking to you now, on the 11th, next week, 11th June, we'll be in Oka. And in Oka, we're also talking about water and electricity. So we are two unions that are involved in that project under Public Service International, NUI and Aupctre. So we are going to talk about water and sanitation in Aupctre, while the Nuyi will be talking about the supply chain in electricity.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, so those kind of workshops also entails the people who are there in Anambra, who will also be brought up there to also come and get some enlightenment. Yes, and once they get it,
so it's a platform
they go back to the state again to organize a kind of public enlightenment from what they have gained. It's like training the trainers.
Okay.
So they will get there and spread the knowledge again, so that the people will also be able to understand some of those things they are doing and all that. So it is not about, for us, we have presented the position to the government that instead of privatization, they should go on PPP, public-public partnership. And we have explained what public-public partnership is to them. That because
not public-private.
Yes, not public-private.
It's public-public.
It's public-public. So their own is public-private partnership. Our own is public-public partnership.
Okay.
So in public-public partnership, the difference is quite wide. If you are in the public, for instance, if the Ministry of Water Resources, for instance, have a need for supply of water chain to a particular quantity of amount, he can liaise with Ministry of Finance, for instance, to provide some fund based on what they might have also provided within themselves. And fund could be exchanged between this ministry to see what they can or how much they can do it.
That's like an intra-government collaboration.
Yes, collaboration. And so once whatever gain you are making from this, the two organizations will benefit from it. It can be within state to state. It can be within a particular state government or a ministry or even a private organization who have the interest in the public, who can also bring their funds to do certain work. But it is not an issue of giving it to a private person to go and organize it, because the moment you do that, the end is profit making. That is just their interest. But if it is public, there will be a little thing people will pay, while the other people are profit oriented. They maximize profit and less quality. But here the people will be at leverage to have service to the water. So for us, we advocate for PPP, that is public private partnership instead of private partnership. That's the difference. So we have given those papers to government to study and to see why they don't need to go for privatization, but to go for public partnership.
Thank you very much. Join us next time.